Hi, I'm Ashley Chapman, and this is for my audio analyst of a reading program. When it comes to how the brain learns to read, we have to look at a few characteristics of the brain itself. The first characteristic is that we were ready to learn when we were born. According to the publication from Purdue University titled Brain Development, newborns are already know the understanding of some things and know the relationship to those things. As the babies grow, their brain grows because they're learning all these new things. When their brain is being used, they're making brain cells, which makes connections called synapses, and that is what helps us retain information. As the babies grow and become children and experience learning, they make stronger connections. This relates to reading because if we don't have those connections, they're not going to be able to process what they learn. The second characteristic on how the brain learns to read is its relationship to language. In the article from Brown University, Brain Autonomy and Language in Young Children, it is thought that language ability, which is located on the left side of the brain, would increase and wane as children grow. But what researchers already found is there is a large quantity of mainline already present, and it stays constant as the child grows up. This is what helps with children learn language in the first place. And this relates to reading because if they learn all those sounds, they're going to be able to read because reading is not natural for them, but knowing the language will become easier. It's also important to know how language is developed in the brain because children with dyslexia have trouble understanding how to read and mix up their letters, but if they know those sounds, they'll be able to decode better. The third characteristic on how the brain learns to read is that the brain is a novelty seeker. Our brain is continuing to look for new things. We want something exciting. We just don't want to stick with the boring thing. With children, this is no exception. The fidget spinners, which was popular a year ago, that was all over the place. I remember taking fidget spinners away almost every day. Now the obsession with them is kind of dwindling. Children like to read things that interest them. I know when the movie Frozen came out, they made books after that movie, and like all my girls in my class were always reading Frozen books. So just finding something that interests them. And then the technology also helps with iPads that have apps for them to learn those sounds, to learn those vowel teams. And that interests them too because it's technology. They get to play on a computer. Who wouldn't want that? The last characteristic on how the brain learns is to read is that children who are beginning to read go through 3 different phases. The first phase is when the brain photographs words and visually adjusts the shapes of the letters, so they're learning how to recognize those letters. The second phase is when the brain begins to decode letters into sounds, so they can see the letter and say the sound. The next phase, which is the last one, is when the brain quickly and accurately recognizes those words. So like sight words, the, they're able to know it's the without decoding it because they already know those sounds and know the letters. For my district, we are using the reading program called Fast Forward, which is from Scientific Learning. There are 4 founders of this program, Michael, William, Paula, and Stephen. They started developing this in the early 1990s, so it's been around for 20-something years. They got funded in the late 90s, and in the mid-2000s is when they start becoming big. I'm familiar with them because my school has been using it for the past 3 years that I've been there as an intervention tool for kindergarten through 2nd grade. But now this year, all grades are using it, K through 8th. And students are on the laptop playing these reading games. 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week is the minimum. And this helps students who are struggling readers, English language learners, students who have dyslexia, students with auditory processing, students with autism spectrum disorder, and students with learning disabilities. And because it is on a laptop, they are wanting to do it and they're focused on it. And that's my background. When it comes to all the results, the reading specialist controls what type of game they're on, and I can see those results. I didn't get much training on how to read them and understand and what I can do to make this program go further in my